Let's play this again.
Teaching flinches. Another memorable playtest and example of the danger of misteaching players occurred in Ravenholm. One of our design principles is for the game to respond to the player as much as possible. So when designing the gravity gun, it seemed obvious that if the player pointed it at a zombie and pulled the trigger, something should happen. It was simple enough to make it zap the zombie for a tiny amount of damage, causing the zombie to play its flinch animation, which felt good and responsive. Later, we watched a playtest where the tester discovered this interaction immediately upon arriving in Ravenholm, and interpreted it as a feedback that the gravity gun was hurting the zombie. Which it was, just not very much. So they zapped the zombie again, repeatedly, shocking it over and over until it died. This is a slow, unfun, inhumane way to fight zombies, especially where you're surrounded by saw blades and explosive canisters. Having learned our lesson, we removed that flinch animation, even though it meant losing that interaction between the zombie and the gravity gun. In this case, it was better to not have the simple interaction, rather than give the false impression that the gravity gun was an effective way to fight zombies. Even simple principles can require trade-offs when you get into the details.
But I don't know if it cut me off while I was commenting on that comment, the double comment. But I'm thinking about how in Doom Eternal, the way Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal worked were a bit different. Doom Eternal leaned heavier into wanting to make sure players were doing their lower kills and going through the gameplay loop with the chainsaw and all that. The first game had a pistol you were able to use, and I definitely utilized that a ton in that game. But they took it away in Eternal. They even like it seemed like a late change because I saw that they had the model and all that figured out. But that it was like detracting from what they wanted the experience to be, which, you know, that's fair, it makes sense. And melee used to do damage as well, however minor it was in 2016, and I remember using it at least on the regular zombies to help finish them off and all that, in a way to conserve ammo. And it just does no damage in Eternal. So like the first minute of the I'm at a zombie, I'm like, okay, let's fuck up the zombie with the punch. And then it took me a minute to just realize, oh, they don't want you doing that in this game. And yeah, so that was just to restate. The commentary is making me think about that particular moment I had with the game recently.
This open plaza was one of the areas that was
a couple years ago now,
first
but
development pass. And when we returned to it, we wanted to preserve as much of the existing art as possible while designing a new player path that used all 3 dimensions, moving players up and down, through windows, across rooftops, and between buildings. It wasn't a large space, so we had to squeeze as much track out of it as possible. And since that started as an art-focused area, it was light on gameplay, and we needed to address that playtesters tended to fly right through it. And to top that off, it was already pushing our rendering performance budget with little room left for anything new. The challenge became finding small additions to slow the player down by adding threats around corners and into every nook and cranny of the level.
I think that helps establish Ravenholm as well. Just having it be just so infested, and it helped to also establish that we don't go there. I think it does a good job, at least. I want a regular ass headcrab to throw this at. so fucked up that it would let the player do that, and then that I would do that afterward. But we don't talk about that. Yeah, I'd wanted to push the average player toward the way players played the first game at a high level. Kind of backfired on them, though. Yeah, there was some pushback, right? There was definitely a subset of people who just didn't like being so coerced. I was willing to go along with it, but I did miss the pistol. I did miss the pistol and the fist as meaningful damage. It just doesn't make sense that Doom Guy could just punch a zombie infinitely and it not kill the dude, right? But I guess at the very least, when you get Berserker power-ups, you're able to rectify that and tear into zombies with your bare hands.
Fire trap. This fire trap was originally intended as a visual showpiece for the fire system before...
It. Sorry. That's the 3 a.m. brain at work here. 3:25 brain.
Fire trap. This fire trap was originally intended as a visual showpiece for the fire system before a level designer repurposed it as a gameplay element for Ravenholm. It was almost cut many times during development due to the performance impact on the low-end PCs because of all the overdraw involved with the transparent sprites. In the end, there was a programmer who felt that it was important enough to the gameplay that it was worth doing the work to solve the performance issues and make sure we could get it into the game.
I'm thinking about all the performance issues a game may have and what developers are allowed time to do and work on to alleviate that stress to the system, to the game, and how that just has become less of a priority, whether or not willingly or because of time constraints or manpower constraints or there's just too much to do in a given game that yeah.
We all went to Ravenholm. When fans talk to us about Half-Life 2, Ravenholm is often the most remembered section. Thanks to its multiple development passes and the density of the material in it, more members of the team are represented in Ravenholm than anywhere else. It was where we figured out how to apply our artistic pipeline to the set pieces and mood we wanted, how physics and gameplay combined with the gravity gun, how headcrabs and zombies need to evolve for Half-Life 2, and much more. Looking back on it now, it reassures our belief in individual empowerment over centralized design. Ravenholm is dense, highly efficient in its gameplay and artistic execution, and the sum of many small contributions by individuals who understood how they could push it just a little further with their own unique capabilities.
The artistic development side of things, I have a thought here. I'm not sure it's fully cooked though, unfortunately, and I don't know if I can fully cook it. But the way that it seems like the game or this area was originally designed from the artistic side first, before employing the gameplay elements and having to course correct and modify around those. I once again think of Rain World because I forget exactly how it goes, but just like the way a lot of the gameplay elements of that game were designed were, of course, had to be designed with the environments in mind. And the environments were designed from the artistic side, from the composer's lens? I don't want to speak too much out of pocket. It's been a little while. Vaguely, that's how I remember the story going, at least. But it's just really interesting to consider how areas can be developed depending on what the first where you first approach it from. There we go. I hear a head grab. Where's that head crab? I want to cover that head crab in the paint. Give me the paint. He's over there. Where are you? No, you die! I wanted... Okay. Fine. Pushback from me, huh? I used to have that much. That's fun with Eternal. No, that's fair. I know at least one other person who bounced off of it because of that. It is a shame that their vision they were so had they were so committed, right? They were so determined to make sure players played it a specific way. Like it like when it meshes with the player, yeah, fine, but it's not gonna mesh with everybody. And it is like I didn't play it in the sense of ignoring the glory kills, of course, but like playing it without doing the glory kills does not sound appealing. Like it is true you control the buttons you press, but hopefully, well, I mean that was in response to people not wanting to use the grenades, and that's one single thing. So like I can't really say anything about that, but like we haven't gotten the shotgun yet, have we? We got the grab gun before the shotgun? Really? I just realized that. Ow. I just wish I still had the pistol. As tedious and slow as it was, I do miss the pistol in that game.
Hallway cupboards. These junk-filled hallways were a simple solution to our need to slow the player down. With the constraint of preserving as much of the existing geometry as possible, combined with slow-moving zombies as the main enemy, it was tricky to stop players from just sprinting through here. Luckily, having Grigori as the crazed inhabitant of Ravenholm made these setups easy to justify. It makes good sense that he'd clog the stairwell to keep himself safe on the rooftops. In the end, Grigori's solution and ours were one and the same. Just throw a bunch of furniture in the way, because if it stops zombies, it'll probably slow the player down too.
Oh, I had a feeling I left that on accidentally. Oops. Alright. We don't interact directly with Grigori much, but it is interesting to consider the environmental storytelling of if you consider, like, I don't know if you're meant to, but I guess you can consider like any display of human interaction with the Ravenholm being his handiwork. Like the Grigori fucking probably did that. Grigori probably fucking did that. That trap back there with the spinning saw blade, Grigori probably fucking did that. Grigori probably did all of this. Like, Grigori is a survivor, a bit unhinged. I guess I should consider that as part of his characterization as we go through the area one last time. If one seed of Dark Ages, I think they overcorrected that game in response to the feedback in a whole different way that doesn't appeal to me. I don't know what's going on with that game. I know Blorbo Streamer played it immediately and enjoyed it, but he enjoys the methodical approach, and I do too. That's why I was meshing with Eternal. I like the idea of, oh, this enemy, get this gun out. This enemy, get this. I do like that on-the-fly kind of like seamless dance with the enemies, but I don't know how that will work out with Dark Ages whenever I get to it. Still gotta do the Doom Eternal DLC and the Master levels, but Dark Ages has that stupid-ass Denuvo in it, so I'm in no hurry to fucking get Eternal off my list now. I mean, like, I'm going to, hopefully, in the next year, but, like... I do wonder how that'll go when I do get around to it eventually. Where did I leave my paint can? I was too busy thinking about the commentaries. I guess the pink can experiment is a failure because the enemy headcrabs died to pink can. They can't get painted on because they're too fragile. Oh fuck, I forgot about you.
Poison headcrabs. This room unintentionally introduces poison headcrabs. We'd spend a lot of time crafting their proper introduction later in the level, But once we saw how well they were playtesting, our excitement got the better of us, and before too long we'd scattered them throughout the level. By the time we realized they'd appeared before their intro, it was really too late to rework it. Fortunately, a tight room of poison headcrabs works as decent training, because their design avoids a common issue with combat training. Typically, players are stressed, and they can get frustrated if they die repeatedly without understanding why. And sure enough, we encountered that problem when trying to train the player with both poison headcrabs and their source, the poison zombie. However, poison headcrabs can't kill the player by themselves, so while stressful, a room full of them at least avoids that frustration.
Wait, can they not kill us directly? Like, they could just bring us down to 1? Huh. Oh god, they're hairy. I didn't know that. Ew.
Even with all the work we did to try and make a connection between this lever and the outside electric fence in the players' minds, some testers would still flip the lever and not know what they'd done. They'd even wander around, flip the lever back on, and wander around some more. With not much time to spend on making the connection
Oh, that's the
clear,
liver.
we elected to just have the lever break off. This prevented players from undoing their progress and added to the feeling that Ravenholm was an unreliable and decaying environment.
You know, I never noticed this. Very funny. The steps you have to go to make sure, then the steps that you have to go through to make sure maybe being masked by just looking like a funny game design element. Alright, you know what? Let's test it. Fuck my shit up.
Warning. Level detected. Morphine administered. Lacerations detected.
You heal before they get a second hit. Oh.
Warning. Toxin levels detected. Morphine
Hello?
administered. Minor lacerations
Hello?
detected. Warning. Vital signs critical. Emergency. User medical attention.
They really can't kill you. Wow, okay. I didn't even notice that before. Oh, for fuck's sakes. They did a good job at just putting pressure on player. I never once considered it. That's how effective that pressure was. I just dreaded the idea of going down to 1 HP, even though I know that I can heal it back. It took me a while to know that you can heal it back, even. Gordon's brain too big to eat. Yeah. I saw all the commentaries, right? I'm getting paranoid. Gordon is the smartest of us all. The most violent, but also the smartest. Yeah, okay. We're good. Or are we? We're good. Alright, I am getting hungry, so we will stop once we get out of Ravenholm. What was it? There's a mine shaft at the end of this, right? And once we get to the top of it, I guess that's what we'll call it. It's going to be an awkward cut on the stream, but that just happens sometimes because Comcast fucking sucks. Where's my blade? That's okay, there's more blades. Found the blade. We're good. How dare you survive that? Think about my feelings. I fucking... quick save. Yeah, we did it. All right.
Well done, brother. Make free use of my traps, but take care not to fall in them yourself.
I guess he says they are his traps.
In Ravenholm, you do well to be vigilant.
Okay. It's unavoidable now that I know about the shield. On that note, people will not shut up about it. Don't know what that means. Is it parry slot? I'm not asking for an actual answer. I'm just thinking aloud. It would be funny to think that Doom has a parry mechanic, though. Because, like, that would mean that maybe we are getting a little too parry happy in gaming. I love my parrying, but not every game needs that. I guess thoughts and questions for down the line.
Car crushers. Car crushers. These car crushers required some adjustments and quite a bit of work to our physics damage system. There's always a challenge when big physics objects interact with non-player characters. For instance, if the physics can push the NPC, it might shove them somewhere they're not supposed to go, leaving them unable to recover. This isn't a big issue for something like a head crab, which can just hop out of a tricky situation, but for something like a zombie, it could mean they get stuck and end up helpless, flailing away in whatever gap they manage to wedge themselves into, which kind of kills the survival horror mood we're going for here.